Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Purple Science Podcast. I'm Srishti Chipde, and I'm back with yet another interesting story for you all. Owing to my psychom adventures, I go to new places all the time, meet new people, and hear interesting stories, which I like to document and share with you guys. Now, this one today is a little different from the ones that we have had on the previous episodes. Different in many ways, in fact. I usually like to talk about student concerns and challenges, and I meet a lot of students, and some common problems involve very tiring schedules, overwhelming curriculums, a lot of labor work that they have to do, that it almost takes a toll on their mental health, and it is a very real problem. As a student myself, and as somebody who takes up all of these other activities on the side, including the podcast, I know that it is very difficult to keep up with the energy to do all of this. But then I met this person, almost the same age as mine, my peer, who doesn't feel lethargic at all. He feels energetic all the time. In fact, also manages to work efficiently for longer hours. Is enthusiastic about all the new activities, and whenever I meet him, he always manages to have a smile and peace on his face. Utsav here is pursuing his integrated master's program from University of Hyderabad with a physics major. So certainly he spends a lot of his time in labs since he's in the final year, but manages to do so without any distractions in life. Of course, I couldn't keep myself from asking what the secret was. Turns out that he follows the Satvic lifestyle. What this lifestyle is all about, you'll get to hear further in the episode. But just to give a gist, this person wakes up early in the morning, practices yoga every day, eats completely clean and healthy, does not eat any kind of junk and fast food, has a lot of clarity, and goes to bed at a reasonable hour, which, to be honest, is a dream to most of us, including me. Which is why I thought it would be interesting to get him on record and talk about his story. I think that his experiences are remarkable, and I can't wait for you all to listen to them. I'm sure you will find them interesting too. So, without any further delay, let's get to the episode. Yes, so Utsav, let's just start with your love for the sciences. How did you decide to take up the sciences, and then what interested you about physics particularly? Was there any moment or any experience that sparked your curiosity?
So I'm a very average student, okay? And in 10th, all of us end up doing quite well, most people. And I was also like that. And in my perception, it was the case that if you do well in 10th, you have to take science in 11th and 12th. So that was my introduction to science. And then in 11th and 12th, what I ended up liking was biology and physics. I hated chemistry. It didn't make sense to me. In 12th, I finally did start liking organic chemistry a little, but then that was it. So my choices after that were either biology or physics. But then I was mostly still not really serious about sciences. I was very outdoorsy sports guy. So I spent my June, July, August, and September playing football in 12th, and I just started studying in October. So October to March is what I prepared, and I did well in boards, but then I didn't prepare really well to clear any exams, or I didn't also have any perspective on what I wanted to do. So then I took a year break, and then I really studied biology and physics and everything. And finally, I got interested in physics and bio both. And when I cleared the university exam, what I got was physics. And thank God that I got that, because later on I realized that biology and chemistry, they go really well hand in hand. And I don't know how I would have done if I took biology. So that is how I got interested in physics. And yeah, there were some moments when I was seriously studying, making notes, and doing derivations. It really sparked my curiosity. It was like, hey, okay, I am understanding how the world works. And to this day, after 5 years of doing physics, that's still the case.
All right. Two quick follow-up questions, Utsav. One, are you still in touch with biology in any way? And, I know that you are, but if you'd like to tell that. And then another question is, now after doing physics for 5 years, how has your relationship with the subject changed?
Okay, nice. So I am in touch with biology, but not academically. I would say that I am understanding what my body wants, and I'm also following up a lot of science-based lectures, podcasts for my own learning. One example is very popular Andrew Huberman's podcast. I follow that. And then there are some just normal evolutionary biology based podcasts that I follow. So the Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom. So that is how I am in touch with biology. And apart from that, I try to eat clean and I follow a Satvic lifestyle. So through that I try to experience different things and I do yoga and all these things. So through that I am just in touch with my body. And yeah, so my relationship with physics has evolved, it has matured. Now I have, after studying so much and after getting through a lot of hard semesters, I am confident that I can do physics, and I am also interested in doing it. So I definitely do want to pursue a PhD. I'm searching for good options, and there's also these other dreams of mine that I'm constantly debating about in my own head, whether to go this other way or whether to go forward with physics.
Yeah, so I think one thing that you said very beautifully is that you learn biology for yourself because you want to know what your body wants and how your body works. I think that's the best kind of learnings for that matter. So that was
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. You also already mentioned that you follow a Sattvic lifestyle. There's always a personal story behind such decisions that you make. And I know
Hmm.
that during your undergrad times, there was a particular incident and then a series of events that changed your
Hmm.
life and then sort of defined how you live today and the lifestyle that you follow today. So, would you
Hmm.
like to share that story?
So I had a bunch of different experiences in my undergrad, and they really did shape me up to become what I am today. And I'm not well, but I am way more sorted because of all these experiences. And I had a really amazing social relationships during my undergrad, which really helped me learn more about myself. I got interested in learning about psychology. I got interested in learning about philosophy. And I started reading classics like Crime and Punishment at that time. And during COVID, what happened was I had finished 3 years of BSc. So I was finally eligible to give exams like AFCAT and CDS. These are exams that let you in for SSBs and for a career in the armed forces. And I was really interested always because I am from that background. My father worked in the Air Force. So I always wanted to explore that career path as well. So I was like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity. I have to sit at home. I can't do anything else. So I started preparing for AFCAT. Didn't clear the written in the first round. I cleared the written in the second round and I had gotten recommended. Now, what had happened during this time also was I developed a health issue out of nowhere. And that was suddenly one night I had a really bad back pain. It was so bad that I had to go to the hospital in the middle of the night. I didn't know what was wrong, but I knew that something was wrong. And they told me that my kidney is damaged and they have to do a certain operation. And Due to that, from the kidney to the bladder, there is a pipe that goes. My pipe was really thin at one point, and that is what they had to reconstruct. So that was basically the operation, and it was a pyeloplasty that they had done on me. And yeah, so due to that, I had an issue in the medicals in the AFCAT, and I was like searching everywhere how to like help kidney recover and this and that. And I learned, unfortunately, that there is no cure or for kidneys in modern medicine. You just can't improve a kidney if it has gone bad. But what you can do is, if it has gone really bad, they help you do a dialysis. And I was like, hey, okay, this is not really good. But then from somewhere in some corners, I heard that there are these ashrams and they help with kidney diseases. You just have to go and practice a certain lifestyle. That is what my relatives told me. So I just went like, okay, fine. I have 45 days to appear for another medical. So I'll just give this a try. And I did go, and oh my God, that completely changed my life. That is how I got introduced to Satvic Lifestyle. And spoiler alert, it did improve my kidneys functioning, and it is still improving. It is taking a lot of time. It wasn't fast enough for me to get selected in the Air Force, but then I'm really happy that I took that decision, and I still follow that lifestyle to the day.
Thank you so much, Utsav, for sharing that experience. I think health issues is something that can take a toll on our mental health as well. And it affects our life in many, many ways. And I'll come to how you sort of overcome that phase of life. But I quickly also wanted to ask, because you said that you've gone through a lot of, and of course, college life is something when you enter college life, you get to see a lot more social relationships, and get to understand more people at that time. After this incident, and then once you started following the Sattvic lifestyle, how did that affect your life as a student per se, and then also your social relationships? So can you throw light on how do your peers feel about this, and what are other people's perception around you? Because I think not that it matters what they think, but what their perception is about this would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, okay, very interesting. So, regarding mental health, what this has done is this has eliminated any hormonal factors that there might be in play regarding my own mental health. So, because I sleep at a particular time, I wake up at a particular time, I do yoga, I do exercise, I eat clean, any and all hormone regulation issues that could affect my mental health, they are no longer there. And for most people, if they start doing this, if they wake up on time, if they sleep on time, if they eat clean, they don't even have to eat the sattvic way, which is to do with not eating junk food, not eating food cooked in oil, not eating deep fried food, not eating packaged food, just eating fruits, just eating clean whole wheat rotis or rice that is not polished and sabzis that are cooked in a wholesome way. Just doing what we used to do before industrialized packaged food became available. If you do that, you eliminate all the factors that could be affecting you. Your gut health becomes really healthy. So that gives you a lot of stability in your mental health. So now, for me, for example, whenever any events happen in my life which can really affect my mental health in a bad way, or which can really excite me in a good way, what happens is I don't get overtaken by them. I am still stable. I can just observe things happening to me and not get really bothered by them. So that is one thing. And it has also given me a lot of clarity because there are no mood swings as such. My mind is very stable and I'm able to focus for a longer time. And this also has given me, oh my God, the best thing is I have so much energy from morning till night when I sleep because sleep schedules are fixed. There are no interruptions. Just body just starts, wakes up in the morning full of energy, still energetic till night time. That is one thing. And regarding social relationships and how people perceive me, they are first of all very curious, and they look at, so I also try to make up my own recipes because I do miss things that I previously used to eat. For example, some ice creams, pizzas, this and that. So Satvic Lifestyle also happens to be vegan. We eat plant based. So for me, the biggest reason not eating meat is following non-violence in all ways, because a lot of animal based food comes through violence. We don't eat that. And even dairy products, because we don't know the source of our dairy, and it could be that those cows and those buffaloes, they are not treated well. And yeah, that is why, especially being vegan in India, is looked at something that is very strange. Or, like, how are they able to do it? They're a vegetarian. They don't eat paneer when they go out. How is that even possible? What do they eat? So that is something that most people look at. And now when they start looking, when they start observing, they see that, okay, I'm really happy with peanuts. I'm really happy with cashews, this and that. And they just go like, oh, okay, this is doable. Does he not miss this? Does he not miss that? And I go like, yeah, no, not really. Whenever I feel like eating something, I just make it. And yeah, that's how my social relationships are with respect to Sattvic lifestyle.
I think you made a couple of really important points. First, that we already know when it comes to physical health issues, we say that it also sort of affects, and we know that it also affects our mental health, and COVID was a great example of that. But what you also said is when you eat clean, when your physical health improves, it also automatically affects your mental health for the better. I think that is a really important thing that everybody should take note of. Secondly, you mentioned bits and pieces of what a sattvic lifestyle is. For people who are, and I almost forgot that many people might not have heard of it because I've been listening to you and I've been listening about it so much. So, can you give some a window into what this lifestyle is? Is it only about eating habits, or is there anything more to it? So, can you tell briefly about what a sattvic lifestyle means?
Yeah, Shushti, yes. So Sattvic lifestyle, in essence, is just doing yoga. And yoga is not just asanas, it is a way of life. So you practice non-violence in all ways. You practice learning about your body. You basically give your body what it needs. And this, for me, the practice that we follow is Ashtanga Yoga. And in that, there are some rules that are related to cleaning your body first before you can experience what yoga really gives you. And there are different ways of cleaning it. There is asanas, in which you do certain movements physically, where certain toxins get released from your body, you become more flexible, and all of that. There's also eating, where you're feeding your body nutritious and healthy food. And there is way of living where you don't consume any violent mediums or any violent movies. You don't consume things that disturb your mental health. There's all sorts of things like that that you have to follow. And so I'll talk about the eating habits now. And to give you an example, I'll just go to the window of time when I was living in the ashram. I lived there for 2 months. And what happened was when we first entered,
Can you
they
quickly tell us which ashram was this?
so this is Jyoti Seva Samstha
Mhm.
near in Andhra Pradesh, near Tuni town.
This was
So Tuni town, yeah.
like after COVID?
This was during COVID. This was in August of 2021. So
Okay.
it was still
Got it.
ongoing. It had been 1 year since COVID started.
Mhm.
So I lived there in August and September. What happened was when I first entered there, they went like, okay, take it. First we have to start. So what happened was I was asked to fast. And usually people fast there for 10 days. And by fasting, I don't mean just drinking water. We drink vegetable juices. So juices of bottle gourd, juices of pumpkin, juices of any kind of gourd vegetable, EV gourd, all these things. And what I experienced strangely was even after 10 days of not eating, I was still very, very energetic. And that was very surprising to me because this was not conventional at all. I would assume that if I don't eat for 1 day or 2 days, I would lose all energy and I wouldn't be able to survive. But I was just drinking vegetable juices. Imagine what a normal intestine is like if you have been eating for 20 years, 25 years, and you have never fasted. All there's a lot of accumulation that happens in our intestines. And after that, food was introduced to my life. And what was it on the first day? It was just to see if my body is now ready to eat food, which was just a little bit of boiled bottle gourd, very little boiled bottle gourd. And after that, they slowly started introducing more of those vegetables and little bit of millets. And yeah, that is how I got started on food. And food was just that, a boiled vegetable, a little bit of boiled millets, and then after a few days, a little bit of boiled green leafy vegetables. And in the evenings, we would eat a bunch of fruits, any fruit that is in season, but just one fruit a day. So that is called mono fruit eating. We will eat a dozen bananas, or I will eat 1 kg apples, or I will eat 1 kg pomegranates, or 1 kg papaya. In that time, custard apple was in season. So I used to eat 1 to 2 kgs custard apples. So that is what I was doing. And we would only eat 2 times a day. In the morning at 8 a.m. and at 8 a.m. we would eat vegetables and millets. In the evening at 4 p.m we would eat fruits. And yeah, we would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. There were a bunch of um, medicinal practices that would happen. There were a bunch of herbs that were given to us for our particular ailments. And then there was mud pack practices that happened. There was yoga that happened at 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. There was mud baths that happened in the afternoon. There were a lot of things. We were uh, doing all sorts of activities to help us physically and mentally. So that is the proper Ashtanga yoga practice. And now in cities, what I do is I continue to eat the same way, cleanly, and I do a little bit of yoga. But apart from that, I don't do any of the other medicinal practices, that therapeutic practices, because I just can't make time for them. And yeah, it's not convenient here to do for me right now. That's all.
First of all, it's a lot of information to absorb at once, I guess,
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
listeners. But Utsav, I think one interesting thing is that, mm, at most when we hear about the Satvic lifestyle. It's mostly about the way we eat, but I think it's a way of thinking as well. You started it,
Hmm.
you perform non-violence, and then there's a variety of things you change in a normal day, like how a normal day looks like for you. So again, I will come back to my question of, has this affected your life as a student in any way? Has it like impacted the way you interact with other people? Because I'm sure that apart from curious, they might also think that this is very different. So how do you deal with that, and does it at all hamper with um the way you used to live before?
Yes, it has affected my student life. It has affected it in the way that I have a lot more time and energy to dedicate to my studies and to do my activities. And it has also given me more clarity and focus. I can consciously do things the way I want to and not get hampered by, we all feel like, aaj man nahi kar raha. I want to, take this day off and lie down. That doesn't happen to me anymore. I can uh, do the same things that I want to every day and not feel lazy in the afternoon or in the evening or in the morning at any time. When I wake up in the morning, I wake up with a lot of energy, and I don't wake up like, okay, I want to sleep for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes more. That doesn't happen to me. And yeah, there are these small things that when I do yoga, what happens is I become conscious of little troubles that are still there in my body. For example, I have pain on my right shoulder, I have pain on my left knee, and yeah. So what happens is when I interact with other people, I see from my perspective, I see that okay, they have just normal questions that I would have previously, which is okay, if you're living this way, isn't it difficult to live? And how do you get your protein? And how do you just live without having paneer? And yeah, apart from being curious, these are usually the questions that I get. Do you have any other questions, Srishti, that you also have for me with respect to this
Well, I
so that I
think
can answer them?
I or anybody else would have a lot of questions. And you're right
Hmm.
in saying that people these days, I mean, maybe it's marketed that way, but everybody is conscious about their protein intake. So
Hmm. Yeah.
how do you first of all manage that? And
Hmm.
first question that came to my mind while hearing all of this, and I think as a science student, maybe everybody, like most of our listeners, would also think the same. What is the kind of, if at all, what is the kind of research that is happening on this, first of all? And how do you like stay updated with the latest research? And is there any scientific backing to this? So, two questions.
Yes.
First of all, how do you manage all the nutrient and protein intake with this diet? One. And then,
Hmm.
is there any sort of scientific backing to it? And is there any research that is happening about this?
Hmm. Right. So first thing is about protein intake. I get enough protein through eating a lot of nuts, a lot of green leafy vegetables, and eating whole grains. That is millets and whole wheat and the whole rices. And people don't give them enough credit with respect to their nutritional values. Apart from that, I eat a lot of nuts. Okay, I consume maybe 100 200 grams of nuts usually every day for me, because I am also doing active project for my MSc. I'm in the final year of my MSc, and because I'm doing my MSc thesis work, it takes a lot of energy. So that I am also eating a lot more nuts usually now. But yeah, I get enough protein on a plant-based diet. There are enough resources on the internet available for people to look up. But if you really want, some sources are spinach, sesame seeds, peanuts, sprouts, millets, all these things, they have enough protein in them. I haven't faced any issues. And one anecdotal evidence of mine for that is I did a 10K run for the first time ever in my life in December of 2022. And I registered for the run on December 14th, and the run was on the Christmas day, December 25th. I hadn't run in 6 months plus. And this was my first time running after following a Satvic lifestyle. What started happening was the first day I ran for 2 kilometers, and then I did recovery, and second day I ran for three, and then recovery. And what I observed was I did not get any cramps on any single day. My recovery was much faster. I was able to do a 10K in just 10 days of training, and I had no pain whatsoever on any given day. I was training much faster, I was recovering much faster, and I was improving much faster. So, and my appetite was also very high on those days, but I was still eating the same plant-based diet, and I did not face any issues when it comes to feeling tired or feeling like I'm lacking any nutrition. If that was the case, I'm assuming that my body would tell me that, hey, you're not eating enough, so we are not able to recover you well. Um, so apart from that, when it comes to research, good thing is there are papers being published about this. In 2020, there was a paper in Cell, and that talked about fasting and its effects on our body. And that is the first time when we actually got to know that, hey, if you fast for 3 days, your immune system gets renewed. And what they mean by that is the white blood cells, they basically just eat up all the things that it deems unnecessary or not like absolutely critical. So a lot of the older junk cells, they get destroyed and new cells are produced. So fasting really does help you, and there are now institutes in the west that are just dedicated to fasting studies. Andrew Huberman also just came out with an episode on fasting and gut microbiome. So there's more than enough research that is going on now. But yeah, it is just starting to happen.
That's really interesting, Utsav. I think you made an interesting point by saying that your body tells you if there's something wrong with it, and we oftentimes ignore those signals, I think. So being aware of that, and I think it is sort of part of the sattvic way of living. Being aware of what your body is going through, what it wants, is very important. And whether you follow this lifestyle or not, I think this is the biggest takeaway that even I had while listening about this lifestyle. So that's very interesting. I think you slightly also mentioned in the previous response that this lifestyle affected the way you are able to focus on things and remember. Do you think that following a sattvic lifestyle affects your cognitive abilities? Have you noticed any changes in your abilities since you began following? And then, are you able to again focus more when it comes to problem solving and remembering information or recreating information? So have you been like more creative? Any sort of experience that you had, do you think it affects your cognitive abilities for that matter?
So when you say cognitive abilities, I am not sure if it helps me improve my IQ. But when we were in the ashram, we were having these discussions with our masters, and they told us that if kids from young age follow this lifestyle, they eat clean, they do yoga, and they are continuing this lifestyle throughout their childhood when they're growing up, they apparently have a lot higher IQ than you would otherwise. So, but for me, I started following it when I was 22, 23. Yeah. So for me, I can't say if it has improved my cognitive abilities or not, but what it has done is it has allowed me to uh, work a lot more. So, for example, in my MSc thesis, I am working in optics. So, mine is an experimental thesis, and I am mostly in the lab doing a bunch of experiments and reading a bunch of papers, and it has allowed me to stay in the lab a lot longer and to be able to be more effective with my time. I can have 2 3 time blocked 3 hour sessions every day and still not be fatigued or have a burnout. And yeah, that is the only thing that it has done for me. And yeah, that's about it.
Fair enough, Utsav. I think that was a great answer. That being said, whenever somebody thinks of following this lifestyle or even like thinks of staying healthy and adopting healthy habits, they face a lot of challenges and they face a lot of obstacles. So did you face any challenges, and then how did you overcome them?
In the course of the last 2 years, now it has become normal in my friend circle to go and eat a plant based lifestyle. It has become cool to follow the Satvic lifestyle. Previously, it was the case that this is very restrictive. You have to limit a lot of things. But that is just a way of thinking. When you actually start living this, your cravings for a lot of things go away. So I don't miss having chips. I don't miss having any cookies now. I don't miss a lot of things because what I also did was, when after coming back and eating this way, every week I would do an experiment that, okay, I will go out and eat chips. Let's see what that does. And what it did was it told me that, hey, after eating chips, I would want to drink water. I would want to eat more chips. And what it was telling me was that this food is lacking in water, this food is lacking in some things, and that is why I was having those cravings. Otherwise, usually when I eat my normal food, I don't want anything after that. I am happy, perfectly happy. I feel like my food is water rich also, so there is no cravings as such. I can go without drinking water for an hour or two after eating. And yeah, so in terms of social life now, after getting introduced to Sattvic movement, it has become way better than before. Even before, when I was not Sattvic, we have these potlucks once or twice a month where I meet like-minded people, and it has allowed me to go and explore new things in my life as well, previously, which I wouldn't have done if I hadn't met these people. um, Now I go on treks, I go on runs, I do a bunch of activities on weekends, and that really keeps me energized and motivated. So yeah, it was very surprising that, yeah, my social life has become way better.
That's great to know, sir. I guess you brought up a very interesting point in saying that when somebody thinks of following this lifestyle, they what they worry about is, oh my God, so much will change, and then we'll have to give up on so much and then start doing so many new things. It will like completely change our lives. But this is something I've learned from you, that this lifestyle is also very customizable. Maybe you can start with doing some exercise in the morning, maybe cutting off some junk food from your diet, or maybe starting your day with some juice. So these little habits that you start building are very important and also very helpful. It doesn't have to be a huge task that you're taking up. So I think that is very important. Before we end this conversation, I think you're the perfect person to answer one question, and that is, how do you stay away from distractions? I think not just while following a lifestyle, but every day, whenever we want to. Nowadays, it's become really difficult to be dedicated to one task, to be consistent. I think this is something everybody faces. There's so much noise, there are so many distractions, and the reason I say that you're the perfect person is because you've taken up something that is in a way huge, and then you have been very consistent about it, even though there were so many challenges. So
Hmm.
how do you stay away from distractions?
So previously, in my BSc days, when I used to eat oats, I would feel this really amazing energy, and I felt like, hey, this is giving me a slow release of energy up till afternoon till I eat my lunch. And I was like, hey, I don't usually feel this when I eat the white rice idlis and eat the white rice dosas that we usually do in South India. And I felt like oats is something amazing. Now when I eat millets or when I eat red rice, I feel this energy, mm, every day. And this is like on another level now. This is oats on steroids, if you will. And this has given me like so much peace and calm in my stomach that I don't feel any cravings for anything whatsoever. I just feel like I want to eat this. I eat other things that are not, that are devoid of their wholeness. They just disturb my this energy that I feel from my stomach. So that's why I don't like eating it. Now, whenever yeah, there are, as such, I don't feel any distractions. I feel like this is the way. I know that this is the way. This is the way that my body experiences peace. This is the way that I like eating because I feel this energy. And that is one way that, if you will, that helps stay away from distractions. And that is something that, even that's just not me. Everybody who follows this lifestyle, they tell me that, hey, okay, so I started eating this way and I feel so amazing. That feeling so amazing is something that pulls us towards this lifestyle. And it's still a process. Initially, when you start eating it, your gut microbiome hasn't completely changed. So initially, you still get the cravings. And it's fine. If you want to give in to the cravings, you can. But over time, if you keep following this, if you keep incorporating this lifestyle into your everyday practice, then slowly, 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 your gut changes and you would only want to eat this clean way. That's
This
all.
is really great, Utsav. I mean, another
Mm.
very important takeaway for me at least is that the sense of achievement and the sense of reward that you feel after following a good habit or being dedicated to anything, being consistent, is so huge that all other distractions will feel small in front of them, which
Yeah,
is
it just comes from your body. Your body starts talking to you, that it tells you that, hey, this was great.
that's true. That's amazing. This is something I like to ask everybody, Utsav. With the experience, and I'd rather say a unique experience that you now have, if you were to relive your undergrad days, what would you do differently?
I think I'll probably focus more on stretching. But apart from that, I wouldn't do anything else. It has taught me so much, all of my experiences. I wouldn't do anything else.
That's really interesting. Nothing about your academics?
No, my academics were great. I used to suck in second semester. I was so bad in academic. Like I thought that I would, still get away like I did in school by just studying one day before. But no, I actually had to sit and pay attention in classes and do things. No, I wouldn't change anything. No. Yeah, I had a bunch of different experiences that I still, when I look back at them, I enjoy. No, I wouldn't change a thing.
That is it for today's episode. Thanks for staying till the end. Just a slight reminder, we strive on your feedback. So don't forget to send in questions or suggestions regarding who you want to be listening from, what topics you would like to explore, and what unanswered questions are you looking answers for over our social media platforms that are linked in the description. I will see you next Tuesday with another story. Thanks for tuning in to the Purple Science Podcast. We share stories every Tuesday. Our inbox is always open for your feedback, and our DMs across all social media platforms linked in the description are open to your unique stories. If you know somebody who might benefit from this, do share the podcast with them and spread the joy of learning.